In my construction management foundation course on LinkedIn Learning, I interviewed an architect friend of mine and we discussed construction drawings. We talked about the level of detail and the information that they contain and don't contain. And he made the comment that there is no such thing as the perfect set of drawings. It just doesn't exist. Owners can't afford them, and it wouldn't make sense to put that much effort into them. Now, I think anyone in construction would agree there is no such thing as the perfect set of drawings. This is one of the reasons we have a formal process in construction called the RFI process, or Request for Information. The RFI process is the main way the field gets official answers to their questions related to things like details and callouts and resolving conflicts that aren't addressed on the plans. Without the formal process, we risk getting answers from the wrong people or not getting answers at all, both of which typically result in rework. Now, I talk a lot about rework because I consider it to be one of the biggest things that has a negative impact on construction productivity today. Unfortunately, the RFI process as it typically exists does not help alleviate this issue as much as it should. The problem is that the process on most projects is still not very efficient. One trade asks a question, and they are the only trade that knows the question's been asked, even though it might affect others. The question gets routed to the general contractor who logs it in, reviews it, maybe asks for some additional input from the person that sent it, and then eventually they pass it on, and it makes its way to the architect for an official answer. In the meantime, we all sit and wait. Or the field doesn't even know the question's been asked and they build it the way they think it should be built. Whether or not that is right or wrong, that'll be determined later. Now, of course, when the answer does come, that doesn't necessarily solve the problem either, because when the answer comes, the general contractor makes dozens of copies of the answer and distributes it to every trade on the project, none of whom bother to look at it because, honestly, what do I care about an answer to a question that I didn't even ask? There is a better way, and it starts by going digital. It has to start there. I showed you how to do that in another episode of Construction Management Microlearning. In that clip, I used an application called FieldWire, and I got you to here, where all of the plan sheets were digitized, named, and in the system with version control to keep track of revisions. Now that I'm here, if I need to submit an RFI, I can stay here and do it in FieldWire. So that's cool. There is an RFI feature to digitize that RFI workflow, but that's only half the benefit. Yes, digitizing the workflow is important. It's real important because it lets me do this quickly and easily right from the field or from anywhere I happen to be when I discover the issue. I just click on the RFI tab and fill out the requested information so it's quick and easy. Like I said, that's half the benefit. The other half is that I can then drop this RFI issue pin that I created right here onto the drawings, right where this issue occurs. Now, as long as I have everyone using this shared set of digital drawings, when any other trade comes out here to work, they will all see an issue when they look at the plans. Let's run through a quick scenario to illustrate this. We'll say the mechanical contractor created an RFI to clarify the duct size needed. In that RFI, they state that the size needs to be larger than initially indicated, and they need that verified, so they initiated the RFI. Now, I'm the concrete formwork contractor. It is highly unlikely that I am monitoring anything the HVAC contractor is saying or doing. Maybe I should be, but I can guarantee you that I'm not. And I happen to be out forming up one of the post-tension concrete floors that has an opening for the ductwork. I'm forming in the opening sized according to what's shown on the structural drawings. When I'm done, the reinforcing contractor is going to install rebar around that opening, and the post-tensioning contractor is going to fabricate tendons to go around that opening, just like it's shown on the drawings. Then we're going to place concrete and finish that floor. Somewhere in the process, there is an answer issued to the RFI which increases the size of that opening. Too late. No one will catch that until the HVAC contractor gets to the job and the opening is too small for their duct. Now, who's paying for that? Because it's going to be expensive. There is rebar and post-tensioning tendons in the way. It's a big fix. Or The HVAC contractor can just open FieldWire and submit the RFI there. Now, I don't expect them to be aware enough to do anything but that. But since we're all digital now, if I'm managing RFIs for the general contractor, I'll get notified the moment they create the RFI. And all I have to do is go to the appropriate sheet on the structural drawings and drop an issue pin there. I can then quickly attach the digital RFI that lives here in the same system, and I'm good to go. Since we're all working from the same set of shared digital drawings, that issue will be front and center when the concrete contractor looks at the drawing to get dimensions to form the opening. All they have to do is click on the pin to see the issue before they form it incorrectly. That is less than 1 minute's worth of effort to ensure that I don't have to cut a bigger opening into a post-tension slab. Try that using paper blueprints and a paper RFI process. Make the change. Go digital.